is the start of, as I said, the greatest thing in sport. The World Snooker Championship gets underway at the Crucible. 17 days of brilliance. Looking forward to heading over to it. Delighted to be joined by the 1997 World Snooker Champion Ken Doherty. Morning, Ken. How are things?
Morning, Shane. How are you?
It's like Christmas Eve, Ken.
You love it. You love it.
I'm looking forward to heading over. It's going to be exciting, and I'm trying to pick out winning qualities of players. Can you last the pace? Can you last the 17 days? Are you in form? But I mean, if you look at your win in '97, Ken, you actually don't have to be in form to win the World Championship.
Well, this is it. Yeah, I mean, it's because it's over the best of 19 and then 25, of course, until the semi-final. Excuse me. You can find your form there. I think it's an interesting point because I think a lot of players are coming into the World Championship, particularly the defending champion, Ronnie O'Sullivan, without any form. You know, you've got him, you've got Trump, and you've got Robertson in there. No real form at all. So they'll be helping to find their form at the World Championship, which is quite unusual.
So coming into tomorrow, and Ronnie O'Sullivan, as you said, defending champion, so he'll be in action at 10 a.m. tomorrow in the opening session with Pang Zhongzhu, his first opponent. Could potentially face Ding Junhui in the second round, so we're looking forward to that one. But Ronnie, so after that World Championship win last year, Ken, he wins the Hong Kong Masters, the champion of champions, beats Joe Trump in fact easily in that final. But regardless of, as you say, form or lack of it, Ronnie is still, you'd imagine, the man to beat, and this could be history. He's level with Stephen Hendry and looking to overtake him.
Yeah, he's on 7 with Stephen Hendry. Achieved that last year, beating Trump in the final. He's looking to make it 8, which is unprecedented. So that'll be a new record, which adds a little bit of pressure as well. But I think he enjoys that. I think he likes the thrill of it, and he is the man to beat. There's no doubt about it. I mean, all the rest of the other guys will be, watching him and see how he's performing. So difficult to play at the World Championship because he sort of feels at home there. Previous years he was complaining about the sort of longevity of the tournament over 17 days, you mentioned, and sometimes he gets a bit bored or impatient, and then sort of throws his toys out of the pram in a few matches over the years. But I think over the last couple of years he sort of set his goal on creating that legacy and wanting to be the best without doubt. And that's what he's after. He's after number 8, without a shadow of a doubt. And I hope he does it because I think his talent deserves it,
Sometimes, can you have these conversations like we had Johnny Sexton in the Six Nations overtaking Ronan O'Gara as the points leader, and Owen Farrell is probably going to do it at some point or another. So you have these conversations about like who's the GOAT in that context, and even though he's level with Hendry at the minute, it does feel like there isn't really a conversation to be had that everybody accepts that it is.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's won 7 UKs, he's won 7 Masters, which is better than Stephen Hendry. Stephen was 6, I think, and 5 respectively, and or 6 Masters and 5 UKs. So without a doubt, I mean, he's the most talented player that we've ever played. Left-handed, right-handed, the amount of breaks. I mean, almost 1,200. I think centuries. Hendry was on 7, I think. So he has he's broken all the records, and he's the most, as I said, the most naturally gifted player that the game's ever seen. So I think everybody regards him as the GOAT. There's no doubt about that. But I think he'd still like to get that 8, just to say, look, I've got more than Stephen Hendry now at the World Championship. He's level with him, as I said. Steve Davis had 6. And I think it's a burning desire for him to win that number 8, and it could be this year.
We talk often on the show, Ken, about this strange intangible in sport, momentum, and it feels like in years where Ronnie gets past the first or second round, like I remember him exiting, I think, in the first round to James Cahill. Ali Carter, I think, was in the second round not too long ago as well. So do you almost feel like when he gets beyond those first couple of rounds, that's when you realise, okay, Ronnie's head is really in this?
Absolutely. I think the first couple of rounds, I think he's the most vulnerable. I don't think he'll have too much problem with the qualifier Pang Zhongzhu, even though he's up and coming, young Chinese lad from Sheffield here. Might cause him just because of the sort of pace that he plays at, but I think his danger could be in the second round. I'm looking at the draw here, Ding Junhui or Hussein Bafai in the second round. That could be a danger, but that'll be over 25. I think when he gets by there, he'll possibly play Mark Williams in the quarterfinals, which would be a fantastic match. And then the possibility of Judd Trump or Sean Murphy, maybe, or Jack Lisowski in the semi-finals, which again would be, a mouth-watering prospect, for Trump. Trump and him played in the final last year. Murphy is playing really, really well. just won the Tour Championships only a few weeks ago, playing superb, back to his best. So he could pose a big problem for him as well.
Yeah, and I guess from an Irish perspective, and we'll touch on Mark Allen in a second, but I guess we're claiming Sean Murphy as well, given that he's living in living in Dublin now. He's got an Irish family.
Now.
Exactly. We'll take him.
More or less Irish man now. Living in Dublin and loving it, travelling back and forth, and yeah, he's very proud of his Irish roots. Actually, even though he was born in England, but he is very proud, and he loves living in Ireland. And it's good to see him back playing well. I mean, he's won a couple of tournaments now this year. It's great to see him playing back to his best, So he would be a big danger, I think, as well.
And I was over in Wolverhampton to watch bits of the Players' Championship and the form he was in at that, and as you mentioned, the Tour Championship as well. Ken, he's scoring better than anyone at the moment. He doesn't seem to feel pressure whatsoever. Got to the final in 2021. There's just something different about Sean Murphy. He's probably the informed player in the world right now, would you say?
I'd say so, yeah. And he must be coming into this World Championship with a lot of confidence. The way he played in the Players and indeed in the Tour Championship particularly. It was a fantastic run, and just the manner in which he won it as well. Even when the pressure came on from Wilson, he just went up another couple of gears. So his long ball game is back, which was sort of, by his own admission, wasn't great over the last couple of years, and he's scoring a lot heavier now as well. So and he plays the game flamboyantly, very fluent, quick around the table, great break builder, and one of the best cueists that we have in the game as well. So it's good to see these players playing well. But I mean, when you look down the list, I mean, himself, Mark Allen that you mentioned, who's had a fantastic season as well, Selby. He could be a danger. He's down in the bottom half of the draw. He's a 4-time winner. But the rest of them, the Trumps, and as I said, the Robertson, John Higgins and Mark Williams and O'Sullivan haven't really performed over this last 12 months. So they have the experience of being there and winning the trophy, but they'll have to find their form at the World Championship. So it's going to be interesting from that perspective.
You mentioned Mark Allen, someone who's never won the World Championship, but if you look at his campaign this year, he's won the Northern Ireland Open, the UK Championship, the World Grand Prix. It's tailed off a little bit, possibly, since a few of those victories, but he's clearly a man, when you listen to interviews, Ken, recently, that has so much confidence. He's clearly visibly lost a hell of a lot of weight, and I think he gives Ronnie O'Sullivan a lot of credit for helping him out in that regard as well. But he's in a good place, Mark Allen.
Yeah, he is, yeah. I mean, he's lost nearly 6 stone since last summer, which is incredible. And that will definitely help him at the World Championship, not carrying that weight, because not only is the World Championship over 7 days, it's a marathon, and it's a marathon of the mind as well and the body, because the pressure does take it out of you physically, and the fact that he's fitter, he's a lot lighter, he can reach, more shots even on the table. But I think you're not carrying that weight over the 17 days has to help him. Yes, he hasn't got his hands on the World Championship yet, but I think he has a really good chance this year. He's playing superbly well. Winner of 3 tournaments. The most consistent performer over the 12 months as well since we came back, and I think he's going to be a big danger man in the bottom half of the draw.
And you look at Mark Allen's route, I'm just looking at the draw here, so he's got Fang Zhengyi in the first round, a possible clash against Bingham or Gilbert in the second round, and then you'd imagine Neil Robertson or Ali Carter await in a quarter-final. So not an easy half of the draw, but it's still, there are matches and opponents that Allen would fancy himself in. Yeah,
absolutely, yeah. It's interesting. I mean, some of the young qualifiers, the Chinese lads, I think we've got 5 of them there. Wu Yus and Shengji that you mentioned as well. Wonderful players, and Si Jia Hui as well. I hope I got those pronunciations correct. But yeah, wonderful players, young Chinese talent coming through. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad draw for Mark Allen, to be honest. And the big match would probably be Bingham or Gilbert. Could pose a little problem to him. But the quarterfinal, Ali Carter or Robertson. And Ali Carter is probably coming into the World Championship with a lot more form that he has done over the previous seasons. So that might be, that match against Robertson, should the two of them get through. That should be a right cracking match as well, but over the best of 25.
You look at Selby, and you mentioned him, Ken, as you say, same section of the draw as Higgins and Wilson. Selby, he won the English Open before Christmas. Maybe the form hasn't been as good, but in that tournament he beat the likes of Higgins and Ali Carter and Pang Zhongzhu, who Ronnie plays in the first round. So Selby, you can never rule out at this tournament particularly.
No, and for me, actually, he's going to be my pick. This year. There's something about Selby this year. As you said, he's won 2 ranking tournaments. One just a couple of weeks ago in Leicester, and at the Tour Championship he lost to Corin Wilson, but he has shown a lot more form. He's had his mental health issues away from the table and some family problems. His wife hasn't been too well. He's had that to deal with, but he's okay now, and he looks a lot happier. And particularly around the table, he seems to have got his confidence back. His scoring is back to his best, and I think he could be the dark horse of the tournament. He's going to be my pick, and my he's the only one, I think, and he's the one that even if he gets to the final, and O'Sullivan gets to the final, it's one player on the whole circuit that O'Sullivan hates playing is Selby. He's called him the torturer over the years, and he doesn't like playing. They've had some great matches. Selby has beaten him from 10-4 down, I think, at the World Championship finals 1 year. And then, of course, on his way to winning his 7th, I think or 6th, O'Sullivan beat Selby in an epic semi-final, 17-16, coming from 16-14 down. So they've had some tremendous matches at the World Championship, but he is the one player that I think Ronnie wouldn't like playing in the final.
He's the only man that Ronnie, of course, has lost to in a final at the World Championships as well. So that backs that up. Neil Robertson is a man who Selby could meet potentially in a semi-final this year, Ken, if they both went the distance. But when you think back to Robertson's World Championship win, that's 2010, that's 13 years ago. If he ends up ultimately retiring with just one world title to his name, that would be hugely surprising for a player of his talent. He probably adds a lot of pressure on himself heading into the Crucible because he only has the one world title, as you say.
Yeah, I wouldn't knock just one world title.
No, they're absolutely fine. And you got to a couple more finals as well, Ken, to be fair.
Wow, shade thrown, Ken.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you're right. For someone as talented as him, and he's one of the best players that's ever played the game. There's no doubt about that. And he's just wonderful cueist and score. The centuries. And yeah, I mean, 13 years is a long time. When he won that championship in 2010, for sure. I mean, I thought he was going to go on and win, 3 or 4. It hasn't happened. He doesn't like playing at the Crucible, funny enough. He thinks he's a little bit sort of cramped in there. He's always sort of giving out. He's quite a tall lad. And it can be a little bit tight around when the screen is down or when you're playing on next to the boarding around the table. But he doesn't like playing there. He's won it once, and he hasn't really performed the way he did, and that's a long time ago. So yeah, he's got to overcome those sort of obstacles. And I expected him to win a few, but it just hasn't happened for him. It'd be interesting to see what sort of form he's going to find here at the World Championship. If he does find form, well, then that would be fantastic for the tournament. There's no doubt about that. And a semi-final against the possibility of Mark Selby, if he comes through, of course, is a tough match, because I think himself and Allen in the quarter-final, that will be a real test for him.
I think another lefty that a lot of people love watching is the Welshman Mark Williams, and he definitely is a fan favourite. And you look at the draw he's got as well. He's got Jimmy Robertson in the opening round, and then a possible second round tie against Luca Brissell or Ricky Walden. There could be a quarter final there for against Ronnie O'Sullivan as well.
I think you're right. I think he'll come. I think Williams, is a great outsider. I think you might get him at about 40-1 or something like that. But himself, Williams and Higgins, both around the same, and both sort of very experienced players. Higgins has won it 4 times. Williams is 3 times, and both very, very dangerous. And they could be good outsiders. But yeah, I think Williams will come through that. He should face Ding Junhui, Hussein Buffet, or Ronnie O'Sullivan in the quarterfinals. Presuming it will be Ronnie, and I think he'll put it up to Ronnie. There's no doubt about that.
I was looking at last year's opening draw there last night, Ken, and noticed I think it was 3 of the 16 ties went the way of the qualifier. So it doesn't happen too often, but there's always those few shocks you'd imagine in the opening round. Can you see any? We haven't mentioned Judd Trump. He's against Anthony McGill, a man who loves the Crucible. Like there could be potential qualifier shocks in the opening round.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm looking at that. Judd Trump, that's a horrible draw for Judd Trump. Anthony McGill in the first round. He got to the semi-finals. one year. Lost 17-16 to Corin Wilson in the semi. It's one of the most dramatic semi-finals we've ever seen. Yeah, Trump hasn't played well since the Masters, really. And that was back in January. So that's really a potential banana skin for him in the first round. He won't like playing McGill. McGill will love it. And that could be a possible win for McGill there. And Jack Lisowski, one player that I love watching. I mean, he's so talented, but he's never got his hands on a trophy. A ranking time, he's been beaten in 6 finals. He's a wonderful talent. And I'd love to see him play well. But he's playing Napan Sangham in the first round from Thailand, and that's another potential banana skin.
Absolutely. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. You'll be busy with the media over the next few weeks, Ken, no doubt.
Yeah, looking forward to it. All the boys will be arriving today, and starts again, as you said. Ronnie O'Sullivan starts out his campaign tomorrow at 10 a.m. But yeah, really, really looking forward to it. It's so exciting. I mean, you know what it's like at Sheffield over the 17 days. People coming from all over the world to watch the World Championships. I think over 45,000, tickets over the 17 days, completely sold out from last year, and it's just exciting. It's just such a wonderful buzz in the city, and it's fantastic. I just love it.
We've got a message in here from someone who wants to thank you as well. Greg London says, "Top man Ken, passed my college exams in '97 following the Worlds, turned down the volume and kept me inside for the whole tournament." So
right, that's nice. At least he passed it anyway.
Yeah, all these years later still remembers. Ken, great stuff as always. Listen, enjoy the Crucible, and we'll no doubt catch up during the tournament at some point as well.
I'll see you over here, Shane. Yeah, okay. Enjoy.
We'll grab a pint. Cheers, Ken. Good man.
Cheers, guys.
Ken Doherty, always absolute legend.